I'm sorry, Harley. Yeah. It's okay. All right. What is going on, everybody? Hope he reacts to the trailer. Unfortunately, I could not help myself. We can look at the trailer together again, but I could not help myself earlier today when I saw the trailer on my feed. I was like, if we didn't have a One Piece topic for today, I would just make it reacting to the trailer. But I was like, we got a topic, so let me just go ahead and watch this trailer in my own spare time. Um, Kojigo, welcome to the Yonko. Thank you very, very much for joining. This is a heads up for all Yonko tier members. So, as I've told you all, we are shifting schedules a little bit, right? We're shifting schedules a little bit. So we're going to be trying out Saturday videos for the immediate future. So it's going to be Saturday videos we're going to try that out. I think people are generally going to prefer that because it's just the way things go. Generally, releasing things closer to the chapter date is better, right? So that also means for those of you who are Yonko members, either on YouTube or Patreon, generally there's the patron podcast or the YouTube member podcast that comes out in conjunction with those videos. For those of you who don't know, every time I drop one of my usual Tuesday videos, all extended thoughts go into my Patreon podcast that comes out at the same time as the video, so that people who are patrons and supporting in that way, or YouTube members and supporting in that way, Yonko tier and up, can listen to the podcast. It's usually about a 20-minute podcast with all the cutting room floor information that didn't make it to the video. So, with the video shifting to Saturdays, so too is the podcast going to be shifting to Saturdays. So we're going to try that out. We're going to try that out and see how people like it. There is a video coming tomorrow, but that one's not going to have a podcast accompanying it. Accompanying it. Moore's thoughts on the Thunder falling off? Oh, we can't derail into basketball this quickly, although I would love to. I haven't been watching, so I don't have great perspectives on this stuff. I've watched only one snippet of a Thunder game this season, and that was Christmas Day, them losing to the Spurs, and that made me feel good. So that's all I got in terms of NBA perspective right now. I hope the Thunder continue to be bad. Yeah, I can watch the live action a bit as people trickle in. Speaking of schedules, says Andrea Anami, Friday's stream and today's Monday stream were scheduled 30 minutes earlier than usual. Will that be the new norm? So, one of the things that I'm trying to do is, okay. So, Friday's stream was actually because I had a few things in the evening that I was trying to get to. It's possible Friday streams will be a little bit earlier, going forward. Monday streams are definitely going to be earlier going forward. I hope that's not too disruptive, but just as, to look back through history, generally in the past, the Monday streams actually used to be at, I want to say 7 p.m. EST. That's when the Monday streams used to be, 7 p.m. EST. Then they got moved to 7:30 p.m. EST, especially as I started trying to crack down and be responsible and try and keep up with late points and stuff. And then finally they reached 8 p.m. EST. So it's shifted basically a whole hour to try and accommodate and make sure that I'm never late. I am thinking basically of going back to the 7 p.m. situation or 7:30 p.m. situation that we had for streams. So it's going to be some growing pains because I want everybody to be happy with the new schedule. And obviously I would like it to work for myself as well. But obviously I don't want streams to suddenly shift to times that people are not used to watching, right? Is Pirate King podcast schedule changed? No. Pirate King podcast schedule is not changed. Get your Pirate King podcast submissions in right now because that'll be up by Thursday this week, basically. So get your Pirate King podcast submissions in. That's not changing. It's always going to be on a Thursday that it's going to come out. Yeah, I can give the trailer a watch right now. We can do the trailer watch real quick while we just allow some people to trickle in. So, I've seen the trailer already, right? So I've seen the teaser. Oh my god, my hair. I've seen the teaser. My hair's pretty curly right now. I've already seen the teaser, so this is not a reaction. This is just kind of reviewing it a little bit. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. It'll just be a little bit messy. That's just the way it is. Here we go. Let's pull it up. I thought the trailer... the only thing that surprised me about the trailer is... how do I say this? I'm surprised that there's not more Drum Kingdom stuff that's shown. So maybe because it's only 8 episodes, right? So surprised that they're not showing more Drum Kingdom stuff. But the other thing is, I figure for hype stuff you would want to, because we're One Piece fans, right? So we're already in, like, we're gonna watch the live action or at least check it out, right? So the main thing is with One Piece Netflix, I'm always trying to imagine, what if I didn't know anything about this show and I was going into it blind, right? I don't know the anime, I don't know the manga, I don't know what's going to happen. So with that in mind, One Piece live action, like, I feel like I'm just surprised that the trailer didn't show interesting, like, little hype stuff. It showed hype stuff in the sense, I guess the whale and some of the scenes that are shown are kind of cool. But in terms of characters, I think people tend to get excited about new characters that we might meet in a new season. So, like, I'm surprised not even a glimpse of a crocodile. I guess they haven't cast him yet or something. But, yeah, that's my I think Smoker was the only exciting new addition. Because the Baroque Works agents, they look silly. Nico Robin, I think Robin is a pretty cool draw, probably. So, you know, that's something. So let's walk through the trailer bit by bit. Okay, let's walk through this. Yeah, this just came out. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Okay. Oh. Pool of Dead 3088. Thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 24 months. I might have to close this door. Hold on. Maybe we're fine? Oh, okay. Hold on, I gotta ask for this door to be closed. Could you close the... Harley... Okay, he grabbed his bone. Harley, out! Go! Harley, go! Okay, hey. Okay. Harley, go! Good boy. Okay. Pool of Dead 3088. Thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 24 months. Yo, Morge, thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3? It's actually got me interested in the Culling Game, even though the manga kind of flopped. So here's my take. So Culling Game is the one part of the manga that I don't really know a ton of what happens. I think I know some of the highlight fights. and I've actually gone in and read one of the fights. But in general, that's the one area of the manga that's kind of blank to me, because after Shibuya, I was just like, oh, I'm going to let Jujutsu Kaisen... I was reading as a manga reader, right? So Shibuya ended, and I was like, okay, I'll let the Culling Game chapters pile up, and I let them pile up, and then eventually I wasn't really reading them, and then eventually it suddenly got to the big heavyweight fight. You guys all know what that is. So the Culling Game ended, and I got to the big one, the final arc main event. And so then I was like, fuck, well, I kind of just want to skip to that. So then I went and read that big fight, the one that everybody knows, right? And then that made me the way that fight ended made me not feel incentivized to go back and read the Culling Game, because I was kind of like, I was not enthusiastic about the way that big fight ended, like many people. I think with time, I've now that the conclusion to that big fight has kind of settled, and I'm like, okay, well, the way it ends is the way it ends, but, the journey matters more than the destination, right? So I'm like, now I'm hyped actually for the final battles of the series again. And so, in conjunction with that, I'm now hyped for the Culling Games to some degree as well. And I like it because that's the one area of the manga that I don't really know, okay? So, Quick thoughts on the initial episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. I think the animation is beautiful. It feels like a, because after it I went back and actually looked at some season 2 stuff, and it feels like they've stepped it up even from season 2 artistically. They're going a bit more abstract with it. I don't know if that's because these 2 episodes were attached to a movie, or if we can expect all of season 3 to be like this, but they've stepped up the quality again, which I didn't think was really possible. So that's really cool. I can't help but feel confused, but that's my biggest thing. When we, I think there's just a missing. I feel like how we got from point A to B is a little confusing to me, which is how is it that, and I even went back to rewatch the ending of Shibuya, which is like, okay, Shibuya ends, and this isn't big spoilers, it's been out for a while, and like, Mahito defeated, and now the bigger plan's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden, like, I just feel like we're just being jumped into this culling games thing, and I feel like this was what really disappointed me. The anime didn't explain it. It just puts up a big text that explains the rules for the culling game, and it's like, what the fuck? The rules need to be actually verbally explained. This is not a manga, right? I mean, I was able to pause it to read some of the rules, but you're supposed to fucking that's not how the medium works, right? You're not supposed to expect viewers to have to pause to read the rules of the arc, right? We're supposed to be able to understand what's happening in the arc through it being fucking shown to us, right? So hopefully that's clarified. But I think 2 things I don't like about the culling, the flow, the plot flow from Shibuya to culling games. I think I'm just a little confused about like why we're doing the things we're doing and what the stakes are now, and why this is happening and what the main villains. I think I'm a little bit confused on the main villain's goals. He explained it to some degree at the end of Shibuya, but I think it's a little bit vague how that fits into the season 3 conflict. Maybe somebody else can explain it better than me, but I think that it feels more like we're just being thrown into what seems to be a big tournament or battle royale for the sake of having the battle royale. So that's the one thing. I feel like Shibuya, all of the stakes and everything were very, very tightly clear. Like, it's a fantastically written shonen style writing arc, right? Where you've got this huge character, right, who has been established that the whole balance of the world kind of rests on his shoulders, and then you have this huge setup where a big trap has been laid for him. We see the whole trap play out. We see him captured and everything. And then we see the fallout of everyone trying desperately to save him because we know how important that is. And we've got all the heroes on this big rescue mission, and we see how it just spirals into something insanely difficult for them and kind of basically fails for them at the end of the day. And everything is very clear. The tension, the stakes, the goal, all of it makes a ton of sense, and why every character is very driven for it, for achieving it. The culling games, I just feel like a hand was waved, and it's like, okay, now we're doing a battle royale. Why are we doing a battle royale? It's like, well, if you don't, what's going on with this? It's like something just, it's important, right? That's just the plan. And who all's involved? I guess we'll find out soon, right? So maybe I'm prematurely judging, but it's the first 2 episodes of the season, and I just feel like I thought there would be more setup to whatever the fuck this situation is. It's just kind of like happening, and it's just like, and if you want to understand better, well, let me flash some rules for you for like 5 seconds. That's what I don't like. So yeah, but let me wait and see. Because again, Jujutsu Kaisen really good for the fights, obviously, but I think the fights still need some level of context, you know? Tio Treviso says Morge, the big villain's plan is the culling game, but it's kind of just, it's just like, okay, well, they wanted to do the culling game for the sake of doing the culling game. I don't know. It's because KJ originally planned for Jujutsu Kaisen to just be the culling games? That's funny. The battle royale was started by the end of season 2. Yeah, but again, even there, it just feels like very vaguely constructed. It's just like, the goal was to make people evolve by forcing them to fight each other and shit like that, and then the balance will change towards Japan and stuff like that. I don't know. It doesn't feel concrete to me. But you know what? Maybe it'll feel more like that once it starts. They bring the rules up again. Okay, that's good. That's good. The rules are brought up one by one as they become relevant in the story. Okay, that's good. All right, let's take a look at this. First, let's get the stream likes up to 50. Then we're gonna watch the. We're gonna watch the. We're gonna watch the thing. We're gonna watch the thing. All right. The trailer. We're gonna watch the trailer and we're just gonna talk about it a little bit. I know you guys can't hear me. Just give me give me one break. Let me have a break here. So I'm supposed to add this. Okay. There we go. So now you guys can hear me. Let me make sure you cannot hear desktop audio. Okay, and I think we're good. I think we're good here. Okay. Okay. Good stuff. Bawa 2929, thanks for the 10. Yo Morge, everyone thinks Loki's fruit could be the Fenrir or Nidhogg, but I think an unlikely but fun option could be a Fylgja, a white fur creature that sees dreams and guides people to their fates. That could be cool. I'm just really thrown by I'm still just really thrown by the fact that Oda introduced he's establishing, it seems like all Norse mythical beings are on the table now, which is kind of crazy because one, like, by that reasoning, won't there now be like a shit ton of OP fruits that we're just never gonna see? Because like if Loki is the Fenrir, then it's like, okay, what about the Nidhogg fruit? What about like the Surtur fruit and stuff like that, right? And Rock said that there's only 2 fruits out there that are really super important for all this, and this is the fruit that could supposedly destroy the world. So I don't know, maybe it is the Surtur fruit. Tiptier Trevisa, thanks to 2. If Blackbeard gets Loki's fruit, what Zoan fits thematically? That's the thing. I don't even know now, man. Maybe the wolf. People could work backwards to figure out something for why wolf fits, so like Fenrir. Nidhogg, I have no fucking idea. The Jormungandr, I think that could actually fit, but I just don't know. We get million god fruits? Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, if this is the case, then now aren't we opening the door to there being like a shit ton of absolutely broken devil fruits? Like, the quantity would be equal to the amount of just normal devil fruits we've had in the story, because there's so many gods out there. I don't know. India arc will never end. All right. Let's pull this up. We're watching this. Okay. Let me just super make sure that no audio plays for you guys. Hold on. Okay. All right. I still think it's genuinely bizarre that we've got Garp and Kobe and stuff like just around. I have no idea what the fuck. Like, what is he gonna do with Garp during this period of time that makes sense? And especially and Kobe. I just don't know. I think they hard committed to having the Garp and Kobe storyline being a long running storyline in the series, and I just don't know how they would have come up with a plan for that across like 5-6 seasons, you know? At least. Crow Stray God, thanks for the 5. Do you think we'll ever get to see an interaction between Akainu and Teach at this point in the story? I would love to see that. They're 2 opposite sides of the coin. So, yeah, that would be really cool to see. I just don't know if it'll ever happen. Like, what context? If they have a negotiation with the Marines or something, I don't know. Alright, let's watch this. Okay, so hold on. Mr. 3 is going to be probably our strongest I guess Mr. 3 and Wapol, right? I still think that they're going to jack up Wapol's strength in the season 2 by having him eat that special armor. Or eating the armory, sorry. Okay, so Vivi versus Nami. Robin was a big highlight of this trailer. I'm very curious how they're gonna do her ability. Mr. Five looks fucking comical. I think they should have made Mr. Five a little bit more. I think they should have made him a little cooler. I think they should have made Mr. Five a little bit cooler in his design and stuff like that. Because he is actually an intimidating and imposing figure when he shows up. And there's one thing that happens in this trailer I have to call out. He is actually an intimidating and imposing figure when he first shows up in the story. It's just that gets flipped on its head when it's revealed how much stronger Luffy and Zoro are than him, right? But on his own, he's a strong figure. Like, you know, like he's a pretty badass figure. And you do want some badass characters in the, you know, in this show, right? Not everyone having goofy designs. All right, so these are I haven't looked through this super carefully. The one thing that I would add that I think is funny is there's a moment where Mr. Five spins his gun and he does it kind of awkwardly and clumsily and has to readjust, but they keep it for the trailer. So, yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, thought that was funny. Drum Kingdom, now that I'm pausing and taking a really good look at it, this looks beautiful. I think actually it goes by a little fast in the teaser. I think they could have shown that a little bit better. Maybe because it looks a little bit fake, but I think people are on board with this show having some, you know, some level of campiness, you know? Yeah, I think they should have let that shot last longer because it gives you the feeling that bigger stuff is happening in season 2. Oh, I didn't realize we really got a good look at Robin's abilities. I didn't even notice. I'm worried that this mic is catching the audio. I'm looking forward to this fight scene between Zoro and the Whiskey Peak Bounty Hunters. What's cool is that, like, because it's live action, the going up and down the reverse mountain is going to be, like, a really cool scene. Whereas in anime context, it's kind of just like, you know, it doesn't have that much, you know, it's not super exciting. It's like, I go up and down a mountain, right? Like, in anime context, that's just not that exciting. But in live action, where everything's more grounded, it is cooler. It feels more. You get that sense of adventure a bit stronger. I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing how they do that. I like that line too, the Nico Robin line. I think that's a good line. You might think you're unstoppable or whatever, but your friends aren't made of rubber. I think that's a good line. I will always appreciate when the TV show comes up with good lines that fit the series. Cool. Yeah, see, look at this. Look at this right here. I'm gonna slow this down. I'm gonna slow this down. I hope you guys can see it, alright? Oh, you guys probably can't see it. Here, let me move it for you guys. Here, check this out. Alright? Alright. So watch this. So he does a good spin, but then he has to adjust it. He does a spin, but it's not a clean catch. He has to... there's a little bit of an adjustment that happens afterwards. The spin is fine. So I'm surprised they kept that. I don't know why they did that. It's not the Ikram I know. What the fuck? Alright. Wait, that's how the wax looks? Okay, so wax, I mean, that makes sense. Looks like goo. Okay, so what's happening here? What is this? Can anyone tell me what this is? When does this happen? Oh, that's the lightning hitting the execution stand. That's lightning hitting the execution stand. What is this? Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm honestly excited. I love the one. I have loved the One Piece live action since it came out, and I've seen it. I think I've seen it 4 times, 3 times. Once myself, once with my yeah. I've seen it like 4 times basically. Diptio Treviso, thanks for the 5. If Loki is the world serpent, then him being the sun destroyer god also makes sense because snakes gain energy in the sun. Red Line destroyed the first world. Yeah, I think that that would fit a lot, but looking at the silhouettes that we're getting in 11. Oh, I know I've got some super sketch up on. Hold on, hold on. Oh, no, I don't. So I'm good. But in the silhouettes that we got in the chapter, it doesn't look like a serpent fruit to me. So it's weird because serpent seems like it fits the most thematically in terms of power. Because even Dory and Brogy talk about how like that's like the most powerful thing, the great serpent soaked in blood or whatever. Uh, and Loki himself, like visually and stuff, his eyes and everything, I think all of it could lend itself very well to having this serpent fruit. But I swear, when I'm reading the chapter, it just does not look like a serpent to me. So I just don't know. Here, like let's look at this, right? Let's look at this together. Let's do some forensic analysis. Also, let's get the Streamlabs up to 50 real quick. All right. So just looking at this, right? Just looking at this. So something. So he eats this. It's got sharp claws, right? But maybe it's still serpent, like hybrid form. Maybe that makes sense. Big roar. Big roar. So you ate it, Loki. So it's a slash, and then it's a slash back. Oda's being very, very coy with this. So here's where I could see it being a serpent here. If we say that this is kind of like a curved serpent situation. Here, let me try drawing something. Hold on. Okay. So here's where I could see it being a serpent type situation, all right? So imagine, so this is, let's pretend this is hybrid form, right? It looks like a fucking wolf to me, all right? I think the straightforward answer is that it's a wolf. It looks like a fucking, like, but if we're playing pretend that it might be the serpent, right? Could this be kind of like a snake like look? Whoops, actually that doesn't make sense, right? Because it comes here. Is this hinting at a snake-like body? It is. What's this? No, I don't know. I don't think it's a snake-like body. I mean, and there's. I could see it kind of being a snake-like body. Like I could see this being a snake-like body. If this is the hybrid form, this could fly, right? So like, because he's got arm here. Right, I could see it. Getting 2 wolves back to back with Yamato would feel off. I don't know if Oda cares about that stuff, because to me it would feel off, but like I don't know if that's Oda's concern or not. Other things I would say that kind of make sense are, here's the things I know. I know that this thematically a lot would fit. In terms of Loki's own design, it would really fit because, Loki, if we go to what, chapter 1153, I would argue that Loki's his appearance and everything like that, to me it strikes me as like the eyes to me strike me as snake-like eyes, right? So to me that seems like that would fit. Um Flip side, Loki was friends with that wolf. Maybe Loki has wolf abilities or something like that. Maybe that's a stretch. Uh, Thematically, certain things line up in that, as far as I know, Jormungandr, if I'm pronouncing that right, when it's when it comes out, that means that it's time for Ragnarok to happen, and that's basically what Loki is basically hinted to be like. Once Loki is unleashed on the world, Ragnarok happens. I could see a potential snake-like thing here. I could see it. It doesn't intuitively look like a snake-like thing to me, because He's growing some stuff here, right? He's growing some crick, crick, crick. Let's throw it for a poll. I wonder what you guys think. And then we'll start bingo in a second. The only creature mentioned before Elbaf was the World Serpent. Yeah. Because Oda was planning the Elbaf arc very, very early on, right? From all the way back in Little Garden. And we get lots of hints as to the nature of Elbaf and things like that. And the World Serpent is the big thing that's talked about, Here, let's go. What is Loki's mythical zone? How do you spell Nidhogg? Nidhogger. Okay. Fenrir. I would, if I got to decide, right? Magically, if I got to decide, I would love for it to be the serpent fruit. It just feels the best to me, but I could definitely see it not being the serpent fruit because it's just nothing seems to indicate it's the serpent fruit. For me, it's just thematically cool. I think it's a combination of all the themes: Fenrir, Nidhogg, Surtur. That would be cool. Oda combines multiple gods into a single devil fruit. Yeah, and maybe he did that with the hammer too. Next chapter we might hear about basically two made up deities in One Piece. One for the hammer, one for Loki himself. Alright, so people really like Nidhogg. That's cool. The lightning powers hint towards Nidhogg too, but that's the squirrel's ability. I guess Oda split it up. Maybe just split it up that way. Let's see. So, in, I want to say 1142 or something like that. Yeah, what I'm afraid of. Okay, so do we get some ideas? It must be Jormungandr. Okay. So let's get some clues. Let's get some clues, right? I do want to get into obviously the bingo card, but now I'm interested in this. So look at this. We're gonna give ourselves some clues. So, teacher, there's a huge snake. It must be Jormungandr. It's the snake that brings the world to an end, right? So this is how the Jormungandr is depicted. I could see it for Loki. I could see it for Loki because, here. Look. We're going to figure this out. We're going to Scooby-Doo this, alright? So this is what we see, right? So we see some claws. We see some hair changing, right? And then this is our one, we see lots of slashing, right? And this is our one real look at a silhouette. See an arm grabbing Harold and then curved neck is what it looks like to me, right? Curved neck, that's what we could agree on. It is that, right? That it is a curved neck of sorts. Okay. Let's start with the Jormungandr. It's gonna gobble. What is Jormungandr? It's the snake that brings an end to the week. So not an end to the world, but an end to the week. Okay, and oh shit. So it's being fought with a hammer. I wonder if that's symbolic. Okay, cool. Continuing on. The Mr. Wolf got fucked up. Okay. Alright. Okay, so more monsters. Loki, okay. Loki is a huge hammer and he destroys the world. No, he doesn't. When he destroys the world, is Nika. Uh, the scariest thing of all is Fenrir, the giant wolf. Ghost, Draugr, and yeah, okay. So we've got all of our. I feel like we've got probably all of our candidates wrapped up here, right? So let's take some look at some clues, right? Fenrir is very much expressed frequently. Um, yeah, I feel like just based on the things we've seen, yeah, I feel like the Nidhogg and the Fenrir are the two best bets, right? I'm leaning Nidhogg based on that curved neck. It seems right, right? What else really? I think it seems right. My only thought though is that then like why does Oda need to give Loki two lightning based abilities? Because Nidhogg is the lightning dragon. But if Nidhogg's the lightning dragon, then why give Loki a lightning hammer also? Like, what's the point? Good point. I wouldn't put stocks on silhouettes having to match the real appearance. That's true. But this is like shortly before Oda unveils the thing, right? So it's not quite the same as, Loki being shown as a silhouette in Elbaf and then looking dramatically different later on, right? I feel like that's a little bit different. Nidhogg lives in Niflheim, which is the wintry, like the underworld area, right? Where he eats a Yggdrasil root. Niflheim was hinted at in the chapter spoiler. Wait, are chapter spoilers out? I would expect the hammer has a squirrel and Loki has lightning dragon. Fenrir would be cool because I'm kind of dragoned out. Loki does have a lot of parallels to Kaido. Like a ton of parallels to Kaido, like visually, in terms of introduction, in terms of like being like the falling from the sky thing, like the being dropped, both of them basically. Both of them being upset that they can't kill themselves, like they can't commit suicide or whatever. So dragon fruit, I could definitely see that. When Ragnar was tied up with Sea Stone, he took the form of a hammer, meaning it is a hammer that ate a Zoan. Yeah, so then what Zoan is that? I mean, it's got to be the Ratatoskr thing, right? No, it's just a hint from Worst Gen? Okay. Alright. Oda's been hyping this up for so many chapters. We all feel like Luffy waiting for him to transform. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very true. Also, let's get Streamlabs up to 50 because we're almost there. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, let's get into some stuff. Alright, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at our 2025 bingo and see if we were right. Let's see if we were right. Alright, hold on. Let's see if we got a bingo. Alright, everybody. Oh, this is back when I had the crazy long hair. Hold on. Okay. We had some silly guesses, but this is good to see. I'll show you guys in a second. The fuck? Alright. Here are our guesses from last year. We go 1 year back in time. There we go. We go 1 year back in time. I had the crazy long hair at this point in time. All right. So, we had the crazy long hair. It's a marker of the past. Let's take a look and see how we did. First, let's get the stream likes up to 50. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 because we are literally almost there. All right. So Shanks and Luffy reunite. No. Kid character arc begins. No. Revolutionaries versus God's Knights. I mean, that could technically be happening right now, but we don't know. Luffy missed... this is back before we knew Shamrock's name. This is a no. Loki unleashes Conqueror's Haki. He used Advanced Conqueror's Haki. So I would say yes. He used Advanced Conqueror's Haki, not in the present, but in, in the flashback. Noland flashback, no. Why did we have that Noland flashback? Ripley's husband has conquered. Ripley. Oh, we might have a bingo going this way. Morch puts out. Oh, no, fuck. This was supposed to be a free space. Oh, no. That was supposed to be a free space. Oh, no. Did I fuck up our bingo? Sanji gets used as a hype tool. I don't think that happened. I don't think Sanji... So it's not like we missed out bingo here. We learned new Haki techniques. No, I don't think we learned new Haki techniques. I don't think we actually learned any new Haki techniques. Okay, let me keep this in order, right? Mistakes. Nope, this didn't happen. This happened, right? 10-ish chapters stretch away from the Straughts. This happened. So far we got one over here, one over here. Sanji Zoro conflict, not a big one, not really. They like argued a little bit, but nothing huge. They even hunted a little bit. Imu makes a move. Yeah, that's big. This is correct. So this row is pretty solid. More Sky Island lore. I don't think we really got that. Crossguild makes a move. No. No. Yeah, this happened. No. No. Yes. No. 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 I don't think we really got new Joy Boy lore. We got like Davy lore. I don't think new Joy Boy lore. Like we can infer more about Joy Boy based on the lore we got, but not explicitly new Joy Boy lore. This technically Luffy attacked Loki, but I would hardly even count that. No. Okay, so we got, in total, forget fucking bingo. Did we even get, like, 5 in general? I think we got just about 5. So, no. I would give us a half point for this, okay? No, so 1, yes. 2, yes. I'll give us another half point for this. So that's 2, so that's 3 total. 4, 5, 6, 7... I'd say 7.5, because this kind of counts, right? Oh, you guys can't see? Oh my god. Oh, okay, here. Let me show you guys. So, here's what... More show the bingo screen? Okay, so here's what happens. Alright? We don't get bingo, and we didn't even get the free space in the center. So, in total, we got about 7.5. Let me give you guys the recap since you guys had to just listen to me. We got pretty much nothing up here. We got this, because it happened during... And this, I'm giving us a half point. So, we got 1.5. This happened in the God Valley flashback, so 2.5. This kind of happened. Like, they've argued. Right? So, that's like 2 total, right? So, 1, 1.5... 2.5, 3, 4, 5. Don't even know what this one is about. Nothing here. 6, 7. And then I give this a 7.5 because Luffy and Loki kind of had a clash. So no bingos, nothing really close. Did we got I guess a 2 point across. This is our closest row. This row we did pretty good. This row we did pretty good. I don't know what we were thinking with the Noland flashback. Why did we say a Noland flashback? I'm supposed to generate a random bingo card? What does that even mean? What, you could go to senior citizen classes to learn how to use computers? I don't know, man. Technology has just always been, what's the opposite of your forte? Your biggest weakness? Yeah, this one we were close. We were close right here. This was our best bet. But we fucked it up with the Nolan flashback. We might have been dumb or something. Why was this even on there? Who suggested this? I know I didn't suggest this. Whose idea was this? You should look at every prediction and cross out the ones you don't have. We don't have most of them. Here, let me do this. All right, so this is our bingo from last year. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so let's play bingo. All right. No, whoops. Why am I trying to do that one? Nothing. I'll be generous. I'll give us this even though it's not confirmed at all. I'm trying to be as generous as possible. So we got this, this, I'm being generous here, this. The fuck was this thing? We could have had it, actually. We could have had it. Yeah, if only we'd swapped spots here. And I'll be generous. This happened. Okay, so... Oh, no! We could have had it! Ah, shit! No! We could have had it! Oh, no! No, it was actually really doable. We had bingo. We had it. It was there. Oh, no. I'm really sorry about that, guys. To be fair, this one doesn't really count, right? This one's kind of hazy. So I feel like it's not a clean bingo. But you know what? We're going to make this our free space again this year. That's a good way to hold ourselves accountable. All right? Okay. Hockey neutralizing Dami Reversi, hockey dual punch. I don't think that's a new hockey technique though, right? We just know that it's stronger hockey. I should remove the Revs versus God's Knights. I don't think that was confirmed to be happening. It might be confirmed to be happening though. It's hard to say. Okay. You ruined 2025. Let's not phrase it like that. We can say I ruined 2025 bingo. I don't feel like it's fair to say I ruined all of 2025 for you guys. I feel like that's a bit much. I don't feel like that's fair. All right, new bingo card generator. What was this site? What site did I use? What site was this? I like that site. bingobaker.com. All right. bingobaker.com. All right. Yeah, let's just do it. All right. Yeah, this is easy. All right. East 2026. Don't worry, I'll screen share with you guys. All right. All right. Here we go now. All right. That's our free space. Or do you guys just want to make it a normal free space? No, it's gonna be the Wano analysis. Let's get Streamlabs up to 100 real quick. Yes, it is a good way to hold ourselves accountable. Okay. Hockey canceling out hockey was finally confirmed, but that's been confirmed. That's been confirmed since Zoro versus Pika. That wasn't new. Why was that new? And before more cost us another bingo? I would argue the revolutionaries cost us that bingo by not showing what they're up to. I think that could have been them too. Fine. We'll keep more releases Wano analysis, but we're not gonna make the free space. We'll make it something else. We'll make it no. We're gonna make it the free space. It's a free space because it's guaranteed. All right. So what are our predictions this year? What are our predictions? You guys feed me predictions. Zoro and Sanji conquers hockey upgrades. I think that's a good one. Zoro and Sanji. And we'll probably be kind of generous with that. So, like, even if it's Zoro, like, mastering Ashura or something, we'll still count it, okay? Sanji, obviously, getting conquers hockey at all will be good. Loki and Hadruden will do Hakoku Sovereignty together. I will not put that because there is zero chance of Hadruden ever using that move. He's too weak. He's a weak character. Blackbeard's Devil Fruit awakens. It's a mythical zone with the will of Davy Jones. I don't know. Jinbei's useless is funny. I can put that again, but I have a feeling that he's going to do something. Usopp does nothing of value. I disagree. I think Usopp's going to do something. New Brook backstory. Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good New Brook backstory. I like that. New Brook backstory. Is there a way we can randomize this? Shuffle items. Oh, I see. Okay, so then when I hit generate, so it'll shuffle it for me. Okay. Not really an ostrich. Thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 10 months. Do you need a hard deadline for this Wano analysis? Like it's out by this date or you put out the Bollywood dance? No. No hard deadlines. Just let it happen. Meek, thanks for the 5. We finally see the Heaven Realm. It is related to the man marked by flames, or maybe just meeting the man marked by flames. Let's put those two things, all right? Let's do, we see Heaven Realm. We meet man marked by flames. I'm going to say we find out who man marked by flames is. Because what if it's someone we already know? Man marked by flames unveiled. Do the Daisy Notch. You're familiar with Bollywood dance phrasing. Luffy versus Emu controlled Garling. You know what? Fine. I can put a Jinbei as useless. I can put a Jinbei as useless in there. It's gonna shuffle it, right? I think Jinbei is going to do something, so we might edit that later on. Uruj dumps lore related to Sky Islands / joins Stride Grand Fleet. I could say Uruj makes a move. We could say that. Uruj makes a move. I think that's got a good chance. Why is every word capitalized? I don't know. It's just the way it is. Cross Guild makes a move. I don't know. Yeah, let's do cross. We can do that. Cross Guild makes a move. This, yeah, we gotta bank on the randomizer because I don't want to make one whole row just being dependent on outside stuff happening. We already have a hard deadline because of the Wano Glaze video you have to do. Yeah, I have to do that by April. Dragon-related bounty reveal, fruit reveal, or make a move, whichever. Let's see. Do we want to do dragon bounty reveal or fruit reveal? I feel like those two will happen at a similar point in time. Mihawk gets a proper feat. I think that, yeah, let's be more specific with this. Mihawk gets a feat. Usopp big moment. I think that's too easy. At least one straw man from Alabasta sees Vivi's message. What do you mean one straw man from Alabasta? Yeah, let's do a poll. Are we banking on Dragon getting a fruit reveal or bounty reveal in 2026? Dorian Brogy versus Zoran Saji. Yeah, maybe we got to do that. Maybe that's a popular enough one. Okay, people want bounty reveal to be the one that goes up. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. I can do Zoran Sanji versus Dorian Brogy. We can do that. Usopp holds Ragnar. I forgot the Strawman Pirates. I genuinely did. Who are the Strawman Pirates? Strawman Pirates. Who are the straw? I don't know. Okay. Okay, we're going to do fruit reveal then. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. We're going to do fruit reveal. Dragon gets a fruit reveal. Blackbeard acquires an ancient weapon. That could be good. You meant Straw Hat, I was joking? Ah, I see. Oh, okay. I meant Strawman, typo. I'm so confused. I'm gonna ignore this whole chain. Elbaf time skip confirmed. No. Can we get a Mihawk named attack? What if he used a lot of named attacks against Vista? It's just off screen. Final Straw Hat crew member joins. I like that prediction. Let's say one more. Let's say new Straw Hat crew member. New Straw Hat officially joins. I like that because I feel like we got a good shot at Bonnie. I don't think Loki's joining. Loki is way too strong to. You wouldn't. Loki is genuinely way too strong to join the Straw Hats. I meant Straw Hat typo. Okay, so another typo. Yeah, Loki joining at this point is just absurd, right? That's literally a Yonko level character just joining the crew. For all we know, Loki could be stronger than Yonko that we've seen to some degree. It's hard to see. Mosa reveal. Yeah, I feel like that's almost too easy. It's almost too easy. Kuma dies. See, that's a prediction right there. Kuma dies. Yeah, I don't think we don't want to go too easy. Blackbeard steals Loki's fruit. I just don't know if we get Loki dying here. That'd be kind of crazy, right? That'd be pretty fast. We can put it. Blackbeard steals Loki's fruit, but that happening so fast would be kind of crazy. Because, like, the fruit gets introduced and then Blackbeard takes it right away. Feels stronger than Yonko for sure. Based on what my previous assumptions were, Loki should be stronger than Yonko's. But that feels so wild that I've said this for the last few weeks. I'm just going to wait till we let some more things play out before I like try to shape again in my head what sort of hierarchy makes sense, because I already had Harold as at least Yonko level, and then you got Harold that's buffed by some shit, so in my mind beyond any of the Yonko, and then you got Loki going toe to toe with him on the first day that he got his new hammer and his new fruit. So it's I don't know. And again, when people say that Harold was holding back and stuff, he was only holding back at the end to allow Loki to kill him. You could argue which way would have gone otherwise, but I don't think Harold was holding back prior to that. Kid gets advanced conquers Haki. Loki greater than Kaido is logical but feels wrong. I'm just gonna wait and see. I mean, like, to me, it makes sense because I do personally feel like Oda's drawn a lot of parallels between Loki and Kaido to make them feel very similar in a lot of ways. Again, right from their introduction and everything like that. And especially if Loki also turns out to have a dragon devil fruit. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the two, and I just wouldn't be surprised if Loki is introduced to be a stronger Kaido basically, but a good guy. So, but Kaido has so many feats and everything. I'm just gonna and he has the reputation. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I mean, the flip side is like, from my perspective, Loki versus Harold is significantly a better feat than anything Kaido did, because Kaido didn't have to fight anybody strong. Like, Kaido only ever had to fight Big Mom in terms of like an actually strong opponent, and I personally think Harold significantly, like, Emu amped Harold in my mind is significantly stronger than Big Mom, and certainly much stronger than like Luffy when he first awakens Gear 5th. So to me, in terms of feats, Loki actually has much better feats than Kaido at this point, just because the Harold thing is so insane, like going 1v1. Because remember, like, a lot of people were saying that it's going to have to be a big team up between Loki, Shanks, and Gaban in order for them to defeat Emu amped Harold. Because everyone was just like, there's no way Loki can do it on his own. He pretty much did it on his own. And even if you want to say, well, Harold held back at the end, it was only at the end, right? So Loki was basically going toe to toe with him besides that. So just in terms of, like, that's, unless Harold is way weaker than we expected, that's just, that's what Loki's doing is well above Kaido. When he was a baby, he basically did Kaido's introductory feat. I don't know. There's more hype around Loki too, in the sense that, like, if he's released, he'll destroy the world. Gaban considered Loki stronger than Kaido. So I don't know. Loki's just such a recent addition that it's too easy to jump the gun on him, though. Needed the hammer? Yeah, I'm counting the hammer as part of Loki's repertoire. If you want to say base Loki, like no fruit, no nothing versus Kaido, I don't know which way that goes. I just count him with everything. Kaido beat Moria, that's true. Water level rises again in 2026. I love that prediction. That's a fun prediction. Water level, thanks Play Madden, rises again. Tiptio Treviso, thanks for 2. I remember during Roof... Oh, shoot. The whole stream... Hold on. Give me a second. Just gotta refresh this. I remember during Roof Piece when Kaido top 1... Bullshit. I mean, Kaido was getting a ton of feats during that time. Justin, thanks for the 2. Luffy character development in worldview and power. I feel like that's a vague one to do, but we can add that, because I do hope that happens. Let's say significant. Luffy gets significant character development. I feel like that's a tough one. Let's just say character development. Let's just say character development. Significant might be a bit of a stretch, because you could argue even Elbaf didn't give him significant development. I think I missed someone super. I got Justin, but you're right, I did miss that. Harold didn't care unless you think Usopp beats Gunko with no regeneration. Yeah, I don't think Harold was guarding with Conqueror's Hack. Like, once characters get regeneration, it seems like they stop bothering to guard with Conqueror's Haki and stuff. They just tank the hits and walk through it, because there's no point. King AP says, bro, just called him Justin. Yeah, that is just. That's all. That's Justin Holland. It's just a different username for him. He has clarified that for me himself. I'm not just making that up. Let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Harold guarded with Conqueror's Hockey. I think for the final attack maybe or something. But I think beyond that, I don't think he was guarding with Conqueror's Hockey because like everybody was able to pierce him. You know, like random swords and stuff like that easily pierced him. Like I don't think that Harold is getting killed by every single one of Loki's attacks. If he didn't have the immortality, you know. So I think that. Like, I don't think every one of Loki's attacks is just ripping Harold to pieces without the immortality. So, the simple way I would put it is this, which is we know that Conqueror's Hockey, or hockey in general, takes energy to use. That's established during the Luffy and Katakuri fight. So, if you don't need to guard with hockey, then why would you? You know? The world finds out about Imu's existence? That would be cool. I think that's a cool one. I think that's a risky one, but it's cool to put. I feel like that might not happen till the end, though. What if Elbaf Palace Guards have Conquerors? I don't know about that. Sentamaru cover story, I don't know. Blackbeard gets another Devil Fruit. The thing is that we've already got Blackbeard steals Loki's fruit, so that's just like a broader version of the same thing. Dom2263, thanks for bringing a Yonko chairman for 39 months. Ancient Kingdom name reveal. Yeah, let's put that down. That's cool. I don't know if that's happening this arc. I feel like it's a little too risky, man. Ancient Kingdom name reveal. I don't know if that's happening. Isaiah Davis, thanks for the two. Kaido and Big Mom are confirmed alive. I feel like that's maybe more likely than Ancient Kingdom reveal. Could put that down. He moves Luffy's mom. Man with the burn scar reveal. We got that up here. Kaido and Big Mom confirmed alive. The thing is that let's do Kaido and or Big Mom confirmed alive, right? That way we give ourselves some leniency. At least one Straw Hat from Alabasta sees Vivi's message. Okay, so we finally got that down. I like that. One Alabasta Straw Hat. I like that. I like that. Jarl gets a sword removed from his head. Yeah, I like that. I think that's too easy though, because that's almost likely to happen, right? Is that too easy? I feel like that might be too easy. Let me ask you guys what you think. Is Jarl gets sword removed too easy of a prediction? Kid comeback. I want to put that down, so I'll put that down in the meantime. Kid returns. Sanji arrives to save Robin. That's a bold but very solidly likely prediction. My soft prediction is I think we could see Sanji versus Sommers personally. And I think it might be Sanji and Robin versus Sommers. I think that Robin wants some payback, but I don't see Robin beating Sommers by herself. So I could see Sanji and Robin versus Sommers. And I think that would be a good opportunity for Sanji to awaken his Conqueror's Haki. Also, this is really random. So really, really random, but people have been talking about like lots of little parallels between Elbaf and Thriller Bark. And it honestly feels like there are a lot of parallels between Elbaf and Thriller Bark in that, how do I say this? Even just the cast of enemies, like, you look at the enemies, right? So Thriller Bark, a lot of the enemies were dealing with this giant army of zombies and everything like that. That's the main batch of enemies. And then on top of that, you've got, like, Thriller Bark, first of all, that's where we first found about ancient giants and stuff like that in the first place, yada yada. But anyway, like with ores and everything, so we're dealing with giants again. But yeah, Thriller Bark, so the main thing is that there's this giant force of like zombies and stuff like that need to be fought, and like general zombies and all of that. And then in Elbaf, again, you've got all of these nightmare monsters, and it's a mix of nightmare monsters and Dami Reversied soldiers, right? So like this large sort of nightmare army, it's the same thing in Thriller Bark and in Elbaf, right? And then if you narrow things down to just the core actual enemies, dogs are getting kind of crazy. The core actual enemies, it's actually a very small little group of enemies by most One Piece arc standards. Because you've got, in Thriller Bark, you had the Thriller Bark 4, which were Gecko Moria, who's like the big boss, right? And then you had Absalom, Perona, and Hogback. And that was like the mysterious 4 of Thriller Bark. That was it, right? Everyone else was basically zombie soldiers. In Elbaf, it's very similar in that you've just got Emu slash Gunko, right? Emu slash Gunko mixed together, basically. And then you've got Sommers and Killingham. So it's just kind of interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. And like, even just a lot of the similarities in the sense that, like, Gecko Moria was this, like, dark, shadowy boss figure or whatever, and then Emu's this dark, shadowy boss figure. And it's Gecko Moria's powers that are creating all of these zombies, and it's Emu's powers that are creating all of these Dami Reversied, basically undead, like, not undead. Yeah, undead soldiers? No, they're not really undead. Yeah, just nightmare soldiers or whatever. So, yeah, I just think that's interesting. So see some parallels. I feel like Sommers is kind of like an Absalom type figure in this arc. Obviously not everything is a perfect parallel of everything, but it's just something to consider. Anyway. Has Morge watched the teaser in this live? I have. If you go back... So, I watched it for the first time earlier today, before stream, but I did feel like kind of going through it with the stream viewers, so I did rewatch the teaser earlier. If you just rewind a bit in the stream, you'll find it. And I kind of broke down my thoughts as we went through it. I'm very excited for One Piece Season 2. Very excited to just binge it all as soon as it comes out. Yeah. What day is March 10th? What day is March 10th? Is March 10th a... March 10th's a fucking Tuesday? It's a Tuesday. I don't like that. Why would they do that? Why would they release it all on a Tuesday? Release it on a Saturday. Release it on a day I could just binge it. MMM, thanks for the 2. Zoro versus Shiryu, a lot of ID parallels in Elbaf. Impel Down parallels in Elbaf. I don't know if Zoro versus Shiryu is happening in this arc. I just don't know about that. Sanji used as a hype tool once again. I don't know if Sanji's going to get used as a hype tool this time. I think he might not, actually. Now you don't have Tuesday videos so you can watch it. Yeah, but I would still like to... there's still things I have to work on, you know? Love to watch it on a Saturday. Pokemon Fighter Rex, thanks for the 5. Think Killingham's power caused the mural drawings to come to life and inadvertently helped the Strats and simply said the drawings were a dream? That's a really, really cool idea. It's a little too risky for me to do it like this, but I think it still has to come from actual, like, living people, whereas the mural is a drawing, so unless it has, like, hockey or magic left over, I don't think Killingham could do it. Although, they said that Killingham... It's a little unclear. Ange said that she had the kids draw the things that they feared, but I figured that was just to get them thinking about it, and then Killingham had to actually draw the nightmares out of their imaginations, not literally from the drawings or anything, right? But I might be wrong. Reo Chia, thanks for bringing Yonko to your member for 38 months. I'm back for now. I appreciate it. Prediction, Strats make it to Lodestar, Shanks and Shamrock interact, Revolutionary Army launches on Pangaea Castle. Let's go with revolutionaries attacking Pangaea Castle. Let's see Marishua. Revolutionaries confirmed Because we don't actually know if that's the case, right? And what's the results of this poll? What are the results of this poll? Okay, so we decided Jarl getting the sword removed is too easy. Too easy. Strahd's making it to Lodestar. I just don't believe in Lodestar, man. I don't believe that we're going to Lodestar for sure. Someone mentioned the Louis Arnott reveal. That's good. I don't know if we're getting an actual Louis Arnott reveal. I would love to find out why Louis Arnott said don't stay here too long. I feel like that was like maybe it was from before the era that Elbaf became peaceful. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, right? Panel Fakanu sitting behind desk. Can Killingham's nightmares soul the Marine admirals and vice admirals? Yes. Oh no, not admirals, but the vice admirals. Yeah, for sure. Because we even saw. So put it this way, like it is genuinely hard to grasp how absurdly huge those nightmare creatures are, because we see them in comparison to the giants, right? But in comparison to the giants, like they're so big in comparison to the giants that compared to humans, it's just like absurd. You can't even properly scale it. Like it's so stupidly, they're so stupidly big. Like it is impossible to. So a simple way to look at it is if you remember at the end of Egghead, right? At the end of Egghead, we were shown the Buster Call, which was a supersized Buster Call. It was twice the size of a regular Buster Call. It was 10 Vice Admirals, actually, right? The Buster Call was helpless against just the giant warrior pirates. And Dory and Brogy weren't even involved. Dory and Brogy were helping Luffy against the Gorosei. So against just the giant warrior pirates, like the Buster Call was getting demolished, right? And then over the course of Elbaf, we're shown that these characters are, like, these monsters are fucking impossible for even the giant warrior pirates to handle. Like, this is it's basically a completely different type of scale that we've seen here. There's no Vice Admiral outside of, like, the tippy top Vice Admirals that are defeating this dragon. I'll say this right now. Saul is a good example of, like, a very strong Vice Admiral from everything we know. And he took out the Jormungandr towards the beginning of this, and that doesn't even seem to be anywhere close to as big as some of the things that come out here. And this is like armies and armies of them, you know? Killing him is boosted because he's an Elbaf, so his abilities are 10 times more OP. Yeah, that's definitely true. This is like the most useful island that he could have used for his abilities. King Toxico, thanks for the 5. I think Nami's Conqueror's Haki is more likely than Sanji, since Oda has always has Nami in a crown in the cover drawings. I don't think that Nami is Conqueror's Haki. I just don't think she's ever been written like that. I think Oda views her as the queen of his series, and that he's like Oda clearly has Nami as his favorite female character in the story, and I don't think that's gonna change. He fucking married a Nami actress in real life, like. So I don't think there's anything more to it than that. I don't think that's reflective of her actual character. Also, let's get Streamlights up to 100 real quick. Shamrock comes back to Elbaf. I think that's an interesting prediction. I just don't know if that would happen. Usopp Conquerors is the most likely. Why does one prediction just say Sanji? I think we started writing something for Sanji, then I forget what happened. So let's swap that. I think I started writing something for Sanji, and then I swapped it. And then I forgot what it was. We find out what Smoker was carrying. Oh, that's cool. We find out what Smoker was carrying. Yeah, why would... I don't know why Shamrock would come back. It's possible, but I don't know. Is this for all of 2026 or just Elbaf? This is One Piece 2026. So that is how Nolan got in the 2025. No, I would have to go back and rewatch the stream to understand how Nolan's snuck in there. What was Smoker carrying? I don't know. I thought it was a poneglyph. Ignorant Weed, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 24 months, man. I recently rewatched Drum and Jaya. Comedy was so good. It made me remember why I fell in love with One Piece. I really hope we will get some good comedy moments this year, even though Arc is really dark. I don't think Elbaf is that dark. I think it's like, it's got some scary panels, like over here, but I don't think it feels that heavy. We're in the middle of a flashback that's kind of somber, obviously, but I don't think it's that heavy. I think Elbaf has actually had some good comedy, particularly towards the beginning. I'm surprised you rewatched Drum and Jaya specifically. Those are two interesting arcs to choose to rewatch. Jaya is a really good arc. So my girlfriend's at Jaya right now, or she's about to start Jaya. So we're getting past the Salvage King section, which has been slow. So I've been watching that. The comedy is good, but it's been slow. And it's crazy when you're rewatching and you realize just how slow things go. Because, like, you know, the episode starts, the ship's falling from the sky. And then you watch 20 minutes, and by the end of 20 minutes, they're still in the same situation. It's just now the monkey guy is underwater with Zoro and Sanji. And so, like, there's a turtle. But it's like, holy shit, not a lot really happened over the course of this episode. And I'm like, man, it's... Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're at Jaya, so now lots of cool stuff is going to happen. And then I'm slowly realizing it's going to be a few episodes before we actually get to the cool scenes in Jaya. Kuma dies will ruin your bingo. No, I believe. Dylon, thanks for the 10. Roger had several Yonko tier crewmates. You've argued that Zoro and Sanji could be that strong in the story. Why can't Loki join Luffy's Pirate King crew? Frankie, Robin, Jinbei were too strong until Zoro and Sanji upgraded. Because, I feel like, yeah, Roger had several Yonko tier crewmates, but it was just, it's just Rayleigh and Gaban, right? It's just Rayleigh and Gaban. I get you can count Odin, but Odin, he got, like, at the end of his lifespan, where the crew's combat strength didn't matter anymore. Like, Odin, there were no big battles that were fought that Odin was needed for. Odin was just needed to translate the poneglyphs, basically. So, everything that Roger did to establish himself as, like, him and his crew as the strongest crew in the ocean or whatever, that was all stuff that happened beforehand, right? In fact, like the final big battle that we saw the Roger Pirates in, Odin actually fought on the other side, right? So it's kind of established that Roger had, you know, two really strong wings, Rayleigh and Gaban, and their clear parallels are Zoro and Sanji. Loki is like almost an unfair addition to the Stride crew because one, Loki is not only far stronger than Odin ever was, he's probably stronger than Prime Rayleigh, Prime Gaban, and he is much stronger than Zoro and Sanji are right now. Like, I guess the simplest way to put it is, based on the thing, I don't want to jump the gun with scaling stuff, because this might be totally wrong, right? Let's let things settle a little bit. But I would just say based on what things were looking like before, right? What things were looking like before is that, like, Rox and Harold, two of the strongest characters, period, ever, right? Many people had Rox and Harold as quote-unquote Pirate King level. So at least Yonko, at least as strong as the Yonko, right? And then Harold got a buff. And then Loki is as strong as Harold with the buff. So that's just kind of unprecedented. Like, that would be stronger than Luffy is right now, right? Unless some information has to change and we get some revelations and maybe Harold we overestimated or something like that. I don't know. But Loki would be significantly, not even, he'd be clearly stronger than Luffy is right now. Like, clearly stronger than Luffy is right now. And Zoro and Sanji would be like so ridiculously far behind, it's not even a discussion, right? Like it would definitively supplant Zoro as the number two of the crew, and it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, Loki's so strong, it seems like Oda's even nerfing him for this arc, you know? He's saying that Loki is injured and everything like that. And so injured it'll take like a month for him to recover. Karen Winovich, thanks for the 5. I think Uranus is a ship that sails the sky ocean. Sabo saw something dark above the clouds. I imagine it as kind of like a UFO type thing, but that'd be cool. Narukami says, Woody though, Luffy's advantage over the lightning and blunt damage. That's just a matchup thing, right? So that's arguing that Luffy would beat Loki in a fight. And that's entirely possible. But in terms of who's stronger overall, right? Like, Luffy wasn't stronger than Enel in Skypiea. He was just a really good matchup against him, right? Because Enel could solo pretty much everybody else in Skypiea easily. Like, Enel was way, 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 way more powerful than Luffy. It's just that the powers didn't happen to work on Luffy. But that doesn't change the fact that if Enel joined the crew right then, he would be far and away the most powerful Straw Hat, and he would also go on to solo CP9 the very next arc with zero effort, right? Obviously, Loki's not like that, right? Like, there's so many strong characters in the world, like, Loki's not, like, that broken, but I'm just saying that the matchup thing isn't relevant to who's stronger between Luffy and Loki. Like, yeah, the lightning wouldn't work on Luffy, but in general, Loki seems to be a stronger character. Hajruden gets Herald's sword. More just pinky toe. That's funny. Dylon says, as strong as Loki is, Luffy assessed himself to be stronger. I think Loki's extremely strong and is Yonko level, but Luffy's probably not outclassed. I don't know if that follows because, like, there's, like, a ton of characters that Luffy has said, if this person does this or that, I'll just kick their ass. And Luffy's not always, like, he said that about Big, like, he said he'd kick Big Mom's ass. He said he'd kick Kaido's ass. Like, I know he seemed, like, comfortably, like, portrayal-wise, it did seem like Oda's implying that Luffy actually can do what he's saying he can do right there. But it also just doesn't track with anything that we've actually, like, the Herald situation is just so insane. Like, what Loki just did, battle-wise. Like, if Herald is as strong as he is implied to be, what Loki just did battle-wise is probably the most impressive 1v1 showing we've ever had in One Piece. But that sounds so ridiculous to say that I just want more information, you know? I want more information before we make those conclusions. But all I'm saying is that on paper, unless Herald is a lot weaker than we estimated him to be originally, yeah, what Loki just did is the craziest battle feat like anyone's done 1v1, period. One Piece 954 says, Morge, were you an English major when you were pre-law? No, I was, my undergrad is in government politics. But I didn't learn that much, so don't come to me with those sort of questions. Hajruden gets Herald's sword. So, I don't know about that. Yeah, maybe that's good. Maybe that could be good. I'll put that down. Hajruden gets Herald's sword. Hajruden gets Herald's sword. Harold is on par with the Rocks, who's on par with Roger and Garp, and then got buffed, and then Loki killed him. Yeah, and even if you want to say Harold let, again, this is the point I keep hammering, even if you want to say Harold let Loki kill him, which is true, it was even up till that point, which is the main thing. And Loki had just gotten his stuff. So Loki is basically roughly, let's say, as strong as buffed Harold, right? And at worst, as strong as normal Harold, right? Let's demote him further. Like, Loki's just as strong as normal Harold. Great. On paper, that's still fucking, like, Pirate King level or whatever. Yeah, and if we're being really blunt, Harold was losing, like Kurokami Nijimi says. Harold was losing even before he stopped moving. Like, if I'm just calling the fight, like, purely objectively the way it's looking, like, without, I'm not trying to apply any of my presumptions. If I was just reading it blind, I'd be like, I think that bald dude is getting his ass kicked by this silhouette. All right. This bingo card ends in failure. That's very likely. Shamrock is confirmed as Bonnie's father. Shamrock is confirmed as Bonnie's father. That would be kind of wild. That would be kind of crazy. I just don't know about that. The Galila Giants are explained. I think that's too easy. Do other people than Luffy need time to train with their fruit? Ask Sabo fans. Because my perspective is, I don't think Sabo's... According to Sabo fans, Sabo has unlocked the secrets of the Marimar no Mi through this last, few weeks of training to a degree that is so absurdly mind-blowing that he has now gone from struggling with a not trying Fujitora to now being stronger than Fujitora because he's just mastered the fire fruit to such a degree. We find out what happens to Garp in 2026. Marcus Callahan says Impel Down Jailbreak. Imagine Sabo one-shotting Akainu with Blue Flame, LMAO. No, I think Oda's just got a thing in One Piece. The thing that I've seen, I've talked about this in past streams, but Oda has kind of generally made fire a very cheap and not significant ability in One Piece the further that we've gone. It was cool when we first saw Ace doing it because that was back when Logias were the flashy new object. But in general, fire is kind of almost everyone and their mother in One Piece is able to use some form of fire attacks for no reason at all. There's no reason that Zoro needs to be able to use fire moves, but Zoro can use fire moves too. Luffy can use fire punches and stuff. Countless characters have some version of fire moves. Fucking Kaido has fire blasts and giant fire blasts and stuff. Big Mom's got fire. You just look through the story nowadays, lots of characters have fire, and lots of characters are no longer really even it's easy to cut fire now. It's easy to just tank fire attacks. Luffy got to a point, even before he started, really getting off his power-ups on the rooftop, Luffy already was at a point where he just, tanked Boro Breath and just walked through it. He's this doesn't... Fire's just no longer really portrayed as being that powerful in One Piece. It almost never deals significant damage to characters anymore. Pretty much everyone can use it. Lots of characters can counter it. It's just not that significant. What Oda's been doing, which is just... I think this is just an Oda thing. I haven't seen it in any other series. But Oda's kind of declared, I think at some point, just... for the One Piece universe, it's fire is a dime a dozen. What really matters is magma style fire, because one, he established that with the Kainu. It's magma is the really big thing, and then two, this was just really strange in Wano, but he started establishing things like Lunarians. They don't just have fire because fire is whatever. They have magma type fire, and he had that reiterated that Zoro's oh my god, this fire is like magma. This is magma fire and stuff like that. So. That was strange. It's okay, so magma fire is just a consistent thing that characters can use, not just fire, but specifically magma. And then Kaido's final move wasn't just some Boro Breath. It's him... He'd never shown this ability before, but he coats himself in, magma-style flames. And Luffy's oh my god, it's more magma shit or whatever. So, and that's Kaido's big final move. So for whatever reason, Oda's kind of defaulted to okay, fire, just forget about that. But what's really a big deal is if characters can use magma-based attacks. So this is the first series where I've seen a special distinction being drawn, where it's okay, if I want a character to have especially effective fire-based moves, it has to be magma-style fire. So you know what, Lunarians, they don't just have fire, they've got magma-style fire. My big bosses in the post-time skip, Kaido, he's not just going to use silly fire moves like Boro Breath, it's going to be magma. All of that's to say, I just don't view the Marimar no Mi as that powerful of a fruit at this point, because it's just, I cannot tell you the last time I saw fire being treated as a very effective ability in One Piece. Sabo has to get black flames for it to be special. Yeah, it's got to do something. The flames have to change color or do some shit. Um, yeah. Hold on. Let me reload real quick. Dear Treviso, thanks for the two. Sabo fans talk about the Marimara fruit like it's top one. I think the more that we've seen in One Piece, the more, like, if I were to order Logia fruits real quick, like, what are the Logia fruits? Right? The Logia fruits. The big thing I would say in One Piece is that, like, you gotta look at how the ability is treated in the story as opposed to. Wait, Karasu is a Logia? No, he doesn't. What's his Logia? What's Karasu's Logia? I thought he had a fucking crow. Oh no, he has suit, right? He has suit. Is it the suit fruit? I fucking forgot about this shit. Is it? Am I right? It's the suit. Am I totally wrong? Yeah, suit. Yeah, I completely forgot. I literally thought that he had a. I knew this information in the back of my head, but in my mind, as I did a double take, I was like, "What? Isn't he some crow-based ability or whatever?" But okay, he's got. Yeah, he's got that. So suit, ash, whatever you want to call it, right? So if I were to quickly say like Logia is based on, to me, it's like based on how they're portrayed in One Piece. So because I think on paper, right, the light fruit is just broken. But I think based on how Oda portrays things, I don't think the light fruit is supposed to be like significantly more broken than like the magma fruit or something. I guess I would say I think that Anel's fruit is obviously really really powerful. Like lightning is consistently treated like a big deal in One Piece. Being frozen is interestingly treated like a much bigger problem than fire. So I think like I'm just going by what how One Piece treats it rather than what my like real world view of the ability is, right? Because like to me, normally fire and ice, those are like similar caliber abilities or whatever. But in One Piece, Oda does tend to portray it as like, okay, lots of characters can kind of walk off just getting burnt, but for whatever reason, like when you get frozen, then you're like, oh my god, Doflamingo got frozen, his heart might stop and stuff like that. Like they just treat it, it's just treated a little bit more like more of a scary thing for whatever reason. Um, the OO is pronounced the same as in foot or book, soot. No, no, I'm gonna say it the way that it makes sense to me. Anyway, um, yeah, if we go by technicality, Caesar's is beyond broken. Yeah, so if it's like if it's how it could be used, Caesar's is crazy good. But in terms of how it's portrayed in One Piece, I don't think it's that great. I think these fruits are consistently portrayed as really, really strong. Like these guys, Anno, Blackbeard. Blackbeard, it's implied to be the best, right? Even though it doesn't feel that way necessarily, because it just feels slow to some degree. But in theory, it's the best, right? So I think these are all really powerful abilities right here. These four characters. I think Aokiji is meant to be viewed as having a very strong fruit. Um, then I think we get take a step down, and then I think you get to like the fire fruit and stuff like that. I think the fire fruit probably then you're getting the plant fruit, sand fruit, stuff like that. And then I think these are Logias that are generally just not that strong, and their main thing is just the fact that they are a Logia, right? So like Caribou, obviously, even Monet, Caesar, um, Karasu. I think these are the lower end Logia fruit users who don't have that much offensive capability, right? And then I genuinely think the worst Logia is Smoker, because I think Smoker is the most simple. Like, no, I'm not saying he's weaker than everybody here, but I'm saying the fruit. The fruit I think is the worst Logia fruit because I think from what we've seen, the smoke fruit is the most basic of basic Logia concepts in that it doesn't inherent like all what do all the Logias have in common, right? They all have in common the fact that they can turn basically intangible and, you know, shapeshift their bodies to some degree. But then they also come with a myriad of elemental based attacks and things like that, right? The smoke fruit is the only one that it really just seems like it allows you to turn intangible, move your body and shapeshift it around and everything like that. But beyond that, it doesn't really offer a ton of offensive capabilities because it is just smoke, right? It doesn't have the versatility of gas or anything like that. It can't even form solid mass like the suit fruit and everything like that. So I think this is the most basic Logia concept, where it's just turning into the element. Good for evasion, good for, moving around and stuff like that, but doesn't offer anything else offensively. Yeah, it's essentially the basic concept of Logia. Most of the Logias is like basically like, well, what if you had Smoker's Fruit, but you could also use like lightning attacks or sand attacks or stuff like that. Smoker's weaker than everybody except Caesar, Monet, NL, and Caribou. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad group to be. This is a very strong batch of characters. I do feel like Oda also kind of tailored things so that the weaker Logias went to characters that he also considers weaker in the story, right? Like Caribou, Caesar Clown, Monet, Smoker, right? I think he didn't want to waste the good Logias. NL is the big exception. NL is the big exception. But he didn't want, like, exception that proves the rule. He didn't want to waste the good Logias on characters that are less exciting, All right, back to the bingo. Taptio Treviso, thanks to the 5. If Monet had fans like Sabo, people, and she was alive, they would say shit like she can beat Kuzan despite their fruits being weaker than the ice/magma. I don't think that's the case, but I wouldn't go that far in exaggeration. Dylon, thanks to 2. Bingo card. Brooks Devil Fruit lore / upgrade at Death Realm. Oh, I could say Brooks Devil Fruit. I don't know if we're going to get Brooks Devil Fruit lore, though. I don't know if we're going to get his Devil Fruit lore. I don't know if that's happening. I do think we're going to get some good Brook stuff. Do we already have Brook? New Brook backstory, we've got that. I'm going to put this. Brook drives Emu out of Gunko. That's my prediction. We got space for 2 more predictions. Amartya Sinha says, it just introduced us to the intangibility concept of Logias. Exactly. He was literally like the base, simple, just prototype Logia to introduce us to the simple idea that, okay, there's characters that are intangible. And then it got scarier from there. Love that he didn't read the NL part. What NL part? What NL part? Wait, that, what NL part? That's, Smoker can beat NL? Is that what you're talking about? Sunny upgrade. Oh, I'm putting that down. Yeah. Sunny upgrade. I kind of want to put down Frankie builds Pluton, but I actually don't know if that happens this arc or if we come back to Elbaf to do it. About Smoker beating those guys? Yeah, I mean, like, to me, Smoker definitely beats... He definitely beats pre-time skip Crocodile. Unless... Crocodile's so weird to scale. Because... Okay, he definitely beats Alabasta Crocodile. I think it's possible that Alabasta Crocodile and Marineford Crocodile are like the exact same strength. Because it's actually even implied that Marineford Crocodile would lose to Gear 2nd Luffy. Because Gear 2nd Luffy is actually the one that stops him from attacking Whitebeard. I think Marineford Crocodile's feats are a little bit overblown because he doesn't actually do anything that crazy. He just takes some damage. But it's hard to say because it's also like his portrayal is pretty badass. Like he's made to look and act really cool. Like he doesn't act like he's out of his depth. And so it's hard to gauge what he's supposed... Like, is he supposed to be stronger here at Marineford? Did he get his hockey back like some people think? But then if you break down everything he actually does, none of it's actually impressive. And it's all actually consistent with what we saw at Alabasta to some degree. So pre-time skip, he should beat Crocodile, unless Crocodile actually had some big buff at Marineford that we weren't aware of. I don't know. But it doesn't beat Crocodile right now. I imagine Crocodile's stronger now. Okay, so the easy picks are obviously he should beat Caribou, should beat Caesar, should beat Monet. Those are all easy. I don't know about it. I think NL's just a weird one. Genuinely very strange to scale. I think he beats NL. He beats NL because NL can't damage him, right? So he should beat NL. NL can't damage him. NL doesn't have armament, last we saw. Blackbeard becomes official king. I like that. Yeah, Noah being repaired by Giants / Galila. I do think that'll happen. I don't know if that'll happen by the end of 2026, though. It should happen soon. How he beats Enel? Because Enel can't damage him. Because Smoker's a Logia himself, right? So that's the one catch. We don't actually have to scale Smoker versus Enel. Smoker's inherently a bad matchup for Enel because Smoker can hit Enel. Enel can't hit him. We already got Crossguild. Crossguild makes a move on Elbaf. We already got Mihawk gets a feat. I don't know. We could do Crossguild makes a move on Elbaf. Usopp will wield Ragnar. I don't know. But he hasn't the speed. But it doesn't matter. Enel literally cannot damage him, right? He can't do anything to him. So it doesn't really matter. You know? Put it this way, there's no difference between... There's essentially no difference between Smoker versus Enel than Smoker versus pre-time skip Luffy. You know? There's no difference. It would be Enel basically having to deal with the same problem pre-time skip Luffy did, which is an opponent that he can't hit, right? Like, Gear 2nd Luffy was faster than Smoker, but he still got, Smoker still caught him. Has Mojo already checked his bingo sheet from last year? Yes, and we were actually pretty close to getting one bingo. We were pretty close. Kuma gets repaired. I feel like that's too easy of a thing to put, because they said already they're going to be working on that, right? Loki meets Mosa in person. That would be wild. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think Mosa is Shirahoshi, so I think that doesn't happen here. Crossguild doing Impel Down jailbreak? I don't know if they do that. I think I'm looking for like what I view as the perfect final prediction. Loki will get Dami reverse seed. How about we get to see a flashback through Emu, very brief. Gunko abducts Brook. I don't know. Okay. Emu gets a brief flashback for Emu. Maybe we could do that. Nolan flashback. My God, what were we thinking? Why did that happen? Why was that? You know what? Maybe it was because it was like some people theorized that Nolan had been to Elbaf before. Vivi arrives at Elbaf. I like that. Vivi arrives at Elbaf. Can we do that? I'll throw the vote for you guys. What's our final prediction? No, because the problem is we have at least one Alabasta straw that sees Vivi's... Why'd I put that? Sees Vivi's message, so it feels similar. Okay, we can do Emu brief flashback. We can do that. Vivi reunion is better. Okay, well then I want to swap this out for Vivi arrives at Elbaf. Vivi arrives at Elbaf, and then we'll do Emu has a brief flashback. Okay, I like that. I like this. Let's take a look through. Is there anything that we want to cut? We already got Brook gets a flashback. New Brook backstory. I like this. I think the idea of bingo is that everything should be in the realm of possibility, but nothing too easy and nothing too outlandish, right? So everything should fall in that sort of like solid realm of possibility, but not guaranteed, right? Zoro and Sanji get Conqueror's Haki upgrades. I think that's a perfect example. New Brook backstory. I think that might be too easy, actually. Some of these up top might be too easy. I want to swap this, and I want to swap this. Because, like... No, Heaven Realm isn't guaranteed, because Oda forgets things. But Brook backstory is close to guaranteed, right? Usopp, fine. Let's swap for Usopp picks up Ragnar. But I don't think Usopp is going to... I want to do Usopp defeats Gillingham. I'll put that in as my prediction, because I think that is going to be an Usopp matchup coming up. I think he will get help, for the record, but I think he will defeat Gillingham. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, nah, we'll see. All right. Usopp defeats Gillingham. We see Heaven Realm. Yeah, man marked by flames like that. Jinbei is useless. I think Jinbei will do something, so I kind of want to cut this. We can swap for Loki gets Dami reverse seed. New star officially joins. I like that. This is possible. This would be cool. Don't know if this happens this year. Like this. Who knows? Potentially very unlikely. Big bold bet. Guaranteed. Water level rises again. This is a cool idea. Luffy gets character development. Sketchy. This could solidly happen. Solidly could happen. This is a bit of a gamble, but we gave ourselves some wiggle room with the and or. World finds out. This is a gamble. We will find this out at some point, so it's just a matter of when. Some of these fall into categories of like things that we know will happen, and the question is just will they happen this year? And then other things fall in the category of like they may or may not happen in general, right? So this falls in the category of like we know we're going to find this out at some point, we just don't know if it's going to be this year, right? Interesting guess. I think that this is very likely, but I could see it being, I guess I'm not capitalizing everything. Sunny upgrade, again, I think this will happen definitely at some point. I just don't know if it'll happen in this arc or if they'll have to return to Elbaf. This is an interesting guess. I like this. I like this. All right. So what am I hitting? I'm hitting generate. All right. So this randomized it. Last time I don't think we did the randomizer. So this is it. This is this is what it looks like. If I had to make a quick guess what I think is most likely to for us to get bingo for, I think that this line actually has a solid shot at bingo, but I'm sketchy about this. Think Dragon gets a fruit reveal. I think this has a good. I don't know. It's hard. A lot of these have certain things that I just think kind of break them, but it's hard to say. Put Brook backstory up there. I think it's too easy. I removed it not because it's too likely, but because it's too easy. Because it's all like the backstory already started, right? So it's kind of unfair. We already got, once you get that little cue in chapter like 1149, where Gunko started having her flashback of Brook, it pretty much guarantees that there is a flashback. The question is just, is it going to happen this year or not? But considering Elbaf, like 38 chapters, I think that there's too much time. I think it's too easy. I think the Heaven Realm one is also kind of cheating. I think that might be too easy, but it's possible Oda just forgets about this or doesn't view it as important. So I don't view it as guaranteed. The Brook flashback thing, it already started happening, so it's not really fair. Bottom row across. Yeah, maybe. Kid returns. We see Heaven Realm. I think this is a solid chance. I think the N has a solid chance. Sunny upgrade. Kuma dying is going to make it rough. Yeah. Yeah, guys. I think we got a good list. I should have kept showing it. I think we've got a pretty good bingo right here. Luffy can get character development if he meets his mom, Crocomon, this year. King AP says, there's no way Oda just forgets about Heaven Realm. Have you seen the Wano arc? Oda could easily forget about the Heaven Realm. Column 5 or row 4, probably. Column 5. Loki gets Dami reversied. I just don't know if he's getting Dami reversied. But this seems easy. This seems easy. This has got a good shot. This has got a good shot. Row 4. This seems easy. This seems easy. I think this is pretty good. This could happen. This makes it tricky. What about Shanks appearing in Elbaf? He technically already has. He's technically the first chapter of the year would confirm. Or I guess if you mean in modern day. If we clarified modern day. I think that could happen at the very tail end of the arc. Like his return. Okay. Straight down to the center. Yeah, I think straight down the center is a good shot as well. Yeah, I think this is a solid bingo list. For those of you, so just reminders for people, because we're wrapping up here. So tomorrow I'm doing a video. It's going to be a shorter video. And then from here on, we're switching to Saturday releases. So we're going to test out Saturday releases and see how people like them. The hope is that it's much closer to the release of the chapter. So it's just a win-win for everybody. Yeah, and if you're a Yonko member for Patreon or YouTube, there is no Morgecast that comes out tomorrow. It's going to start coming out on Saturdays alongside the Saturday videos. So watch out for those. All right, everybody. We're probably going to wrap up right around here. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm personally very excited for the end of this week where we finally get the first One Piece chapter of the week. So I'm very, very excited for that. All right, everybody. Thank you all for